Yes, all right, good afternoon, all. This meeting is called to order and Happy New Year. Mr. Strowman, has anyone signed up for public comment? Thank you much. Good afternoon, Ms. Miller. A
Good afternoon.
rare afternoon meeting. How
Yes,
about that?
sir. Good afternoon.
No cases to reconsider under agenda item 3.
Correct. No cases.
On tax liability cases under agenda item 4, I think we have 2 cases on docket 1 and no cases on dockets 52 and 2.
Yes, that's correct. There are no tax liability cases on docket 52 and 2, but there are 2 tax liability cases on docket 1. The first case is TD-23-018-0623. Commissioner Esparza,
I agree with staff recommendations.
Commissioner Trevino,
I agree with staff's recommendations.
and Chairman Daniel.
I disagree with staff's recommendations. The speech pathologist and the assistants are not in the firm's employment. The office workers are in employment.
And Commissioner Esparza, do you maintain your vote?
Explain it again, the speech pathologists are not employment, but the staff is.
That was the chairman's vote.
We're gonna agree with, we continue with my vote on that.
Okay. Chairman
Agree with
Daniel, would
staff
you like to
recommendations.
short form dissent? The second case is TD-23-027-1023. Commissioner Esparza,
Agree with staff recommendations.
Commissioner Trevino,
I agree with staff's recommendations.
and Chairman Daniel.
Agree with staff recommendation.
Thank you. That's all the tax liability cases on these dockets.
Thank you. We have no fair housing cases on agenda item 5, no child labor cases on agenda item 6.
That's correct.
Under agenda item 7, we have no wage claim cases pulled on dockets 52, 1, or 2.
That is correct, but you should have received wage claim short form dissent list for all 3 dockets.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on dockets 52, 1, and 2.
I second the motion except for those cases which I am dissenting, as reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 52, 1, and 2.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting, as reflected in wage claim short form dissent list for dockets 52, 1, and 2.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to agenda item 8. In consideration of unemployment insurance cases, we'll start with docket 52. Please proceed when you are ready.
Case number 3474746, Commissioner Esparza.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. First, I did not dispute the timeliness ruling. Concerning the job separation, the claimant was discharged for excessive tardiness after the final warning. Claimant testified that he always texted his supervisor if he was going to be late due to traffic, and that had not been done, and that he had not been counseled about his tardiness. However, his testimony is neither credible nor persuasive. Fact-finding statements provided by TWC. Closer in time to the job separation, the claimant admitted that he did not notify the employer if he was going to be late and that he had been warned about his tardiness. Thus, because the claimant continued to be tardy after a final warning and failed to follow the employer's policy, he mismanaged his position of employment. We should affirm the AT decision. The claimant filed a timely appeal misconduct.
The AT decision should be modified. I agree that the claimant filed a timely appeal. As for the separation, the AT decision is not supportable. The employer failed to follow its own progressive disciplinary policy for attendance points. The employer's point-based attendance policy called for termination upon when an employee reaching 10 attendance points. However, the employer did not discharge the claimant after he reached 10 points. Rather, the employer condoned the claimant's tardiness until they simply concluded that he had been tardy too often, and then discharged the claimant without regard to their own attendance policy. By not acting once he had reached 10 points, the employer condoned the claimant's actions and failed to follow its own attendance policy. Therefore, the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. Modify the AT, timely claimant appeal, no misconduct.
Timely claimant appeal, no misconduct.
Short form dissent on them.
Thank you.
Case number 3490849, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision should be modified. I agree that the claimant established good cause for his failure to appear at AT1. Regarding the separation issue, the claimant was discharged following an argument with a coworker. The evidence established that the coworker initiated an argument and was the first one to use profanity during the argument. The claimant did not escalate the argument, but merely responded in kind to the coworker. Yet the claimant was discharged while the coworker was not. Since the employer did not discharge the coworker who started the argument, the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. Modify the AT, claimant established good cause for AT1, no misconduct.
The appeal tribunal decision should be affirmed. First, I do not contest the good cause issue. As to the job separation, the claimant was fired for directing profanity at an employer during an event that he was overseeing. Because the claimant was in captain's role during the final incident, he should be held to a higher standard of conduct than the employee that he was directing. As such, the claimant's actions constituted work-connected misconduct. We should therefore affirm the AT decision. The claimant had good cause for his non-appearance misconduct.
Claimant established good cause for AT1 misconduct.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3552129, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not correct. The employer discharged the claimant due to customer complaints that the claimant was rude and did not provide good customer service. The claimant testified that he was never rude and that he provided professional customer service. The employer offered no firsthand testimony or specific complaints about the claimant's behavior. Therefore, the employer has failed to meet its burden of proving that the claimant engaged in actions that could be considered misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
The appeal tribunal decision should be modified. The claimant was fired for receiving multiple customer complaints. Both the claimant and the employer testified that the claimant had not received warnings for customer complaints in the past. Nonetheless, the final incident consisted of the claimant receiving another customer complaint, specifically for being rude and providing inadequate assistance. While one or two customer complaints can be attributed to individuals having a bad day, the employer stated that the claimant had 5 customer complaints before receiving corrective action in June of 2022. It strains credulity to conclude that all the complaints against the claimant were baseless. Accordingly, the claimant's behavior during the final incident in light of prior corrective action constituted work-connected misconduct. We should therefore modify the AT decision. It's misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate employer response.
No misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3603924, Commissioner Esparza.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. While the claimant's exclusively weekend position ended, the employer offered her a 4-day position, which included some weekdays in addition to weekend days. The claimant's job duties, pay, and work hours would have remained the same. Claimant quit rather than accept the new position and testified that she could not work during the week because she was attending school. However, according to the fact-finding statement the claimant provided regarding her availability to work full-time, she was able to work from 12 p.m. Monday through Friday and on weekends. Based on that statement, the claimant should have been able to accept the new position since the hours did not conflict with her school. Thus, the claimant not shown that she had good cause connected with the work for quitting. We should affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant had good cause reason for resigning from her weekend position after her position was eliminated. The claimant was a full-time student and informed her employer that she was unable to work during the week due to her class schedule. After the claimant's weekend position was eliminated, the employer substantially altered her employment agreement by only offering her positions that directly conflicted with her school schedule. Therefore, the claimant had good cause connected with the work for quitting her job. Reverse the AT, no voluntary leaving, chargeback.
No voluntary leaving, chargeback.
Short form dissent, in addition, based on the claimant's testimony that she was not available to accept any work during the weekdays due to her full-time school attendance, we should send a memo to further investigate the claimant's availability to work.
Yes, sir. And that was the last pulled case for docket 52. You should have received the UI short form dissent list for docket 52.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 52.
I second the motion except for those cases which I am dissenting, as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 52.
Concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I am dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 52.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you. And proceeding to docket 1.
Case number 3425603, Commissioner Esparza.
The AT decision should be reversed. The employer offered substitute teachers like the claimant assignments through its online portal. The employer testified that it trained substitute teachers on how to access the portal and to accept assignments. Indeed, the employer further stated that the claimant had accepted assignments using this method in the past. The employer also stated that details of the assignment are available on the portal, including start date, location, and time. Additionally, the employer testified that it has multiple jobs available every day because the claimant had previously used the online portal to accept assignments and because the employer stated that jobs were available every day. The claimant knew where to go to avail himself of the work the employer was offering. This is akin to the employer knocking on the claimant's door with available work each day, only for the claimant not to answer. As such, the claimant rejected suitable work from the employer. We should therefore reverse the AT decision, suitable work disqualification.
The AT decision is correct. The claimant worked as a substitute teacher for the employer. Prior to the beginning of the summer break period in 2022, the claimant signed a letter of reasonable assurance provided to her that the employer, which provided reasonable assurance of the work in the following school year, which began on 8/10 of 22. The employer posted the list of available assignments on 8/10 of 22. However, the employer did not specifically offer the claimant any assignments, and therefore the claimant did not refuse any offer of suitable work. Affirm the AT, suitable work eligible.
No suitable work disqualification.
A short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, could you please clarify whether your vote is to disqualify or qualify the claimant?
Qualify the claim.
All right, then I need to go back and clarify. With 2 votes to qualify, that means the claimant has prevailed. So if anyone would dissent, it would be your dissent.
Short
Yes,
form
sir.
dissent.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Case number 3441629, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not fully supportable. While I do not contest that the claimant did not establish good cause for her failure to appear at the AT1, commission records available at the time of the AT1 hearing established that the claimant was receiving benefits at the time she began working for the named employer and worked for the named employer for less than 4 weeks. So it is necessary to determine whether the work would have been considered suitable work in order to determine whether the claimant had good cause for quitting under section 207.045 G1. Commission records show that the claimant earned $307 for the benefit week ending in 7/2 of 22, $142 for the benefit week ending in 7/9 of 22, and $226 for the benefit week ending in 7/16 of 22, during which her CC at issue in this case was filed. Based on these earnings, the claimant worked for the employer as either a new part-time work or the claimant was paid significantly less than her maximum wage demand of $18 per hour. Either way, the work would not have been considered suitable work, and the claimant had good cause connected with the work for quitting under section 207.045 G1. Modify the AT. Claimant had not established good cause for AT1, no voluntary leaving, no overpayment.
The AT decision should be affirmed. For information in the file documents of this case, the claimant was twice advised to register for the appeal hearing in question. Nonetheless, the claimant did not appear. As such, the AT's conclusion that the claimant did not have good cause for her non-appearance is supportable. As to the underlying job separation, the available record establishes that the claimant quit her job, and there are no indications that the claimant's working conditions were intolerable. Accordingly, the claimant quit without work-connected good cause. We should therefore affirm the AT decision. The claimant did not have good cause for her non-appearance, voluntary leaving, overpayment.
Unless the claimant establish good cause for AT1, resubmit.
All right, we do have a majority vote on good cause that the claimant did not establish good cause. However, no majority vote on the separation.
Ma'am, I'll agree with the chair.
Yes, sir. Good cause and resubmit. We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3518385, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not correct. The claimant's appeal to the 11723 determination was late because he was told by a TWC representative the document would be physically mailed to him and would not be sent electronically. When the claimant had not received anything in the mail by 1:30 of 23, he called again and was told by another TWC representative to keep waiting for the determination in the mail. Although this was still within the appeal period, the TWC representative didn't advise the claimant that the determination had already been made or that the appeal deadline was 1/31 of 23. When the claimant had not received anything in the mail by 2/6 of 23, he called back and was assisted in finding the determination that was sent to him electronically. The claimant filed his appeal the next day. Since the claimant's appeal was late due to misinformation from the agency representatives, it should be deemed timely and the case resubmitted for merits testimony. Reverse the AT, timely claimant appeal, and resubmit.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The claimant filed his appeal beyond the applicable deadline to do so. While the claimant provides various explanations for his untimely appeal, his late filing was ultimately due to him not regularly checking his electronic correspondence inbox. As such, his appeal should be dismissed as late. We should therefore affirm the AT decision, untimely claimant appeal, leave the underlying decision in full force and effect, filing not eligible from 6/7/2020 through 5/8/2021.
Untimely claimant appeal, filing not eligible June 7th, 2020 through May 8th, 2021.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3540056, Commissioner Esparza.
I think the AT decision should be reversed. Although the employer's response is late, it should nonetheless be deemed timely. The employer witness stated that he was called into TWC to request an extension. He was told in part that he was, quote, okay to go ahead and submit the deadline, delayed response, unquote. Being told that you're okay to go ahead and to do something would cause a reasonable person to believe that in doing so, doing that something would not result in any adverse consequences or penalty. In the case before us, it is not unreasonable to conclude that the employer thought that everything would be okay, including the timeliness of the appeal, by being told it was okay to go ahead and submit the delayed response. So can be construed as misinformation. The employer's appeal should be considered timely. Moreover, the employer's appeal document states that it did not receive the notice in question until very late in the appeal window. This means that the employer was not even afforded half of the 14-day window to respond to the claim. For these reasons, we should reverse the AT decision, timely employer protest, resubmit.
The AT decision is correct. The commission mailed the employer a notice of application for unemployment benefits to its correct address of record, and the employer received it within the deadline provided to them for submitting a timely protest. The employer had the opportunity to file a timely protest, but delayed the filing to a protest because the employer's desire to submit additional documentation, which was ultimately not submitted by the employer. Since there is no good cause exception to the timeliness rules, the employer failed to file a timely protest. Affirm the AT, untimely employer protest.
Timely protest, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3546767, Commissioner Esparza.
There's insufficient information in the current record for a definitive ruling on the timeliness of protest issue. I agree that because the evidence shows that the employer did not receive the original late protest determination, the company's appeal should be considered timely. On the issues of timeliness of protest, the employer gave credible and consistent testimony that he filed a timely response online. Unfortunately, he did not receive confirmation of the timely protest. While the record notes that the online claim response form has a submit button that needs to be clicked in order for the entered information to be sent to TWC, there's nothing in the record indicating that whether the employer actually clicked that button or even whether the hearing officer asked that important question. The employer should be given an opportunity to directly address whether he followed the instructions on the claim notice and on the response board. Accordingly, we should hold a rehearing in this case for an additional information on the timeliness of protest issue.
The AT decision is correct. While I agree that the employer filed a timely appeal, the employer did not file a timely protest to the notice of the initial claim. The employer's evidence shows that although it had prepared a protest, it did not submit it until February 22 of 2021. As appeals are dated when they are received by the commission, and there is no good cause exception to the timeliness rules, the employer's protest is untimely. Affirm the AT, timely employer appeal, no timely employer protest. If my fellow commissioners disagree with the issue of the timeliness of the employer's protest to the initial claim, I could agree that the claimant was separated from the employer due to a lack of work caused by COVID-19 pandemic, and thus the claimant should be qualified to receive benefits and the employer's account protected from charge. Modify the AT, timely employer appeal, timely employer protest, no misconduct, no chargeback, disaster.
Timely employer appeal, timely protest, no misconduct, no chargeback, disaster.
Agree with the chairman.
Very good. We have a unanimous decision.
Right.
Mhm.
Case number 3547167, Commissioner Esparza.
The AT decision should be reversed. First, the employer's response should be deemed timely due to non-receipt. As to the job separation, the claimant was fired for job performance. Three factors separate this case from the other job performance cases dealing with inability. First, the employer stated in his response to the claim that the final incident was the claimant not ordering parts or ordering the wrong part. Placing an order for parts does not immediately invoke thoughts of complex or highly technical job duties. Second, the employer testified that the part of the reason for the claimant's termination was due to attendance. Had the claimant been to work on time and showed up for scheduled work, She would have gained additional exposure to her job duties and might have improved. Third, the claimant did not show up to the appeal hearing and therefore did not testify under oath that she was working to the best of her ability. As such, the claimant's poor job performance constituted work conducted misconduct. We should therefore reverse the AT decision, timely employer protest, misconduct, no chargeback.
The decision should be modified as recommended. I won't dispute that the employer's protest should be deemed timely. The evidence on the underlying job separation clearly established that the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. The employer discharged the claimant for continued performance issues. The claimant never consistently met the employer's performance expectations during her short period of employment, despite working at the best of her ability. Therefore, the claimant's inability to meet the employer's performance standards did not constitute misconduct connected with the work. Modify the AT. Timely employer protest, no misconduct, add chargeback ruling.
Timely protest, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
I agree with adequate response.
Thank you. The majority vote disqualifies the claimant.
Okay. Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Just to state the whole vote, timely protest, claimant discharged for misconduct, employer protected from charge, and adequate response. With your short form dissent, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Case number 3549030, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not fully supportable. Though the claimant received prior warnings due to the tardiness and absenteeism, the claimant's statements to the commission indicate that the final incident that led to the claimant's discharge occurred when the claimant was tardy to work with notice and then left work with permission that same day due to illness. Since the final absence from work was due to illness and the claimant notified the employer, the claimant was discharged due to a medically verifiable illness. Modify the AT, no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI. However, if my fellow commissioners don't agree that the claimant should be qualified based on the available evidence, since the parties were not questioned regarding the final incident that led to the discharge, I would agree to rehear this case to obtain additional evidence regarding the final incident.
The AT decision should be affirmed. Both parties stated that the claimant was fired for excessive tardiness, absenteeism. Claimant had been warned about her attendance issues in the past. Nonetheless, final incident, according to an employer email and file documents, appears to be the claimant leaving for her lunch break and failing to notify her supervisor that she would not return from her break. As such, the claimant's attendance issues in light of prior disciplinary action constituted work-connected misconduct. We should therefore affirm the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback. In the alternative, since the claimant's filed absence seems to be the result of a medical issue, would also agree to a vote of no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
Rehear.
All right, we've got basically two majorities. So we have two votes for MVI with Commissioner Trevino and Commissioner Esparza. We also have two votes for rehearing with the chairman and Commissioner Trevino. Did you want to go with your primary or your secondary vote, sir?
I'll agree with the MVI, which is primary.
Okay, so the majority vote is pay and protect with MVI.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Case number 3555787, Commissioner Esparza.
The AT decision should be reversed. The employer has been consistent in its evidence to the TWC that it did not receive the notice of claim in question until the final day to provide a timely response. This effectively means that the employer had a one-day appeal window, and perhaps even less since the employer testified that it did not receive the notice until the afternoon on the day of the appeal deadline. While it's easy to argue that the employer should have responded the moment it received the notice, It should also not be forgotten that employers must make sure that their response are adequate to avoid adequate response strikes further down the line. In sum, the employer should not be penalized for only having a fraction of the appeal window to properly respond to the claim notice. Should therefore reverse the AT decision, timely employer protest, and resubmit.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The employer received the notice of initial claim within the appeal period, but failed to file a timely protest because the employer did not open their mail right away. Since there is no good cause exception to the timeliness rules, the AT decision deemed the employer's response late should be affirmed. Affirm the AT, late employer protest.
Timely protest, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case. And that was the last unemployment insurance case pulled for additional discussion on docket 1. You should have received the UI short form dissent list for docket 1.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 1, except for the case on which I am dissenting, as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 1.
I second the motion except for those cases on which I am dissenting, as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 1.
I concur with the chairman's motion except for the cases on which I am dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 1.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you. Proceeding to docket 2.
Case number 3299600, Commissioner Esparza.
I agree that we should grant the claimant's motion for rehearing to take testimony on whether the claimant had good cause for missing the AT hearing. Regarding good cause issue, the claimant provided inconsistent and contradictory testimony for missing the AT hearing. Since the claimant did not show that he was unable to attend the AT hearing due to circumstances beyond his control, the claimant did not establish good cause. Concerning the job separation, the claimant was terminated for violating the employer's safety rules. Although the claimant was repeatedly trained for issues related to safety, the claimant was terminated when he directed a team member to move steel in an unsafe manner. Since the employer's safety procedures were instituted for the purpose of promoting a safe work environment, the claimant's failure to adhere to the employer's safety rules or mismanagement of his position of employment. As such, we should grant the claimant's motion for rehearing. The claimant did not have good cause for missing the AT hearing, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
The claimant's MR should be granted under Rule 17 and the prior CA decision set aside. Regarding the good cause issue, the claimant was unaware that the AT hearing because he was not provided timely notice of the hearing. As for the separation, the AT decision is correct. The claimant was employed for approximately 6 months and was discharged for unsatisfactory job performance. The claimant gave his best effort while performing his job duties, but never demonstrated an ability to meet the employer's standards. Therefore, the claimant's inability to perform the work to the employer's satisfaction does not rise to the level of misconduct. Grant the MR, set aside the prior CA decision. Claimant had good cause for missing the AT hearing. Affirm the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
Due to the rehearing officer's failure to question the parties about the final incident resulting in the discharge, the available record remains poorly developed and the case should be reheard.
We have not yet achieved a majority vote.
I'll agree with the rehearing.
We will rehear the case, sir.
Case number 3476298, Commissioner Esparza.
The commission should rehear this case. First, I do not contest the timeliness issue concerning the job separation. The employer provided 2 reasons for the claimant's discharge: damaging equipment and assaulting the company president. The facts surrounding these 2 incidents were not well developed. Since the circumstances regarding the claimant separation were not adequately explored, the commission should rehear this case to further develop the record about the final incident in which led to the claimant separation. I ask to rehear.
The AT decision is incorrect. The claimant's commission appeal should be deemed timely. The IT department confirmed that there was a glitch in the UBS system around the time when the claimant filed his initial appeal. The claimant provided credible testimony and physical proof that he had filed in a timely appeal. Regarding the separation, the claimant was involved in an accident which caused damage to a trailer that he was assigned to pull. The employer failed to show that the claimant was responsible for the damage to the trailer as a result of the accident. The claimant was laid off from his position for work or for lack of work, and the employer failed to meet their burden of proof establishing that the claimant was discharged for work-connected misconduct. Reverse the AT, timely claimant appeal, no misconduct, chargeback.
Rehear.
Did you want to cast a vote on the timeliness issue before the rehear?
Well, I have a timely claimant appeal.
Thank you, sir. So we're unanimous on the timeliness of appeal and we'll rehear on the separation.
Case number 3504012, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not supportable. The claimant consistently testified that he missed the first AT hearing because he was given misleading information from a TWC representative who informed the claimant that he would not need to provide further information about his work separation. Therefore, since the claimant missed the AT1 hearing because of misleading information from a TWC representative, he should be granted good cause for non-appearance. Reverse the AT, claimant had good cause for missing AT1, resubmit for testimony and evidence from AT2. In the alternative, if my fellow commissioners do not agree that the claimant had good cause for missing the AT1, the evidence available at the time of the AT1 established that the claimant reported to the temporary help firm for employment reassignment the day after his assignment ended. The employer did not offer any firsthand testimony or documentation evidence to show otherwise. Therefore, the claimant's separation occurred when he reported for reassignment, but was not offered any further work. Modify the AT, no good cause, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The claimant's belief that he did not need to attend the appeal hearing because he supplied information about his case approximately 5 months prior to the hearing is unreasonable. The hearing notice clearly notifies the parties about the issues that will be discussed during the hearing and advises that it may be the final chance for the parties to present their case. As to the job separation, the available record establishes that the claimant voluntarily quit without work-connected good cause because he failed to report for reassignment. Moreover, the claimant signed off, moreover, the claimant signed offer letter establishes he was advised his unemployment benefits could be affected for failing to report back for reassignment. Accordingly, we should affirm the AT decision. The claimant did not have good cause for his non-appearance, voluntary leaving, no charge back, adequate employer response.
Claimant did not establish good cause for AT1, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
Now, short form dissent.
Yes, sir. And that was the last case pulled for additional discussion on docket 2. You should have received the UI short form dissent list for docket 2.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 2, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting, as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 2.
I second the motion except for those cases in which I am dissenting, as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 2.
I concur with the chairman's motion except for the cases on which I am dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 2.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of agenda items 1 through 8. We'll take a short recess. All right, we're back with agenda item 9, statewide agencies, new hire report.
Good afternoon, Chair. Daniel, Commissioners, Cerna. Thank you for your time today. We're taking under for consideration, discussion, consideration, possible action. The submission of the fiscal year 2023 Texas Workforce Commission new hire summary report to the governor and the Legislative Budget Board pursuant to Texas Labor Code, section 21.504. Pursuant to the statute, we have compiled a report of the total number of African Americans, Hispanics, females, and other persons hired for each job category by all state agencies during the preceding state fiscal year. We note that this is a new procedure in bringing this report separate from the annual TWC report where it has historically been combined. This disaggregation should unburden the agency annual report from all future Chapter 21 statutory deadlines. Staff has compiled information in a compressed format that aids comprehension and utility. And in general, this report demonstrates the good work that state agencies are doing to hire in each job category and maintain an engaged workforce for the state of Texas. Today, staff makes a recommendation to adopt this report for submission to the governor and legislative budget board in satisfaction of section 21.504 of the Texas Labor Code. This concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We're going to have time for questions. The staff person who I think was probably supposed to give this report has not arrived. So if you want them to answer the questions, you can swap out or we'll let you do it. I don't actually have any questions. So.
Yeah, I thought you might have a question about the Bolo tires.
That's probably coming up, but just judging by all the reactions, this was the quality of a Hollywood movie here today.
Yeah.
Your disbelief, that person's surprise. It's quite a lot of drama
Thanks
playing
for
out.
calling, I think, so it's, yeah.
Yeah. Any comments or questions?
None here.
No questions.
All right. Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move we approve fiscal year 2023 Texas Workforce Commission new hire summary report for submission to the governor and the Legislative Budget Board as recommended today by staff.
A second.
It's been moved, second, vote unanimous. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
So agenda item 10, board nominees.
Can you hear me? Okay. Do I need to start over, Les? Today, for your consideration, we have Workforce Board nominations for Workforce Solutions Alamo, Capital Area, East Texas, Tarrant County, Golden Crescent, Northeast Texas. Staff recommends approval on the presented nominees, and I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Any comments or questions?
None here.
No
Is
questions.
there a motion?
Chairman, I move we approve the local Workforce Development Board member nominees presented today for the following: Workforce Solutions Alamo, Capital Area, East Texas, Tarrant County, Golden Crescent, and Northeast Texas.
A second.
It's been moved, second, vote unanimous, and the motion carries. This is agenda item 11, child care match.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mr. Cerna, for the record, Sandra Williams, Workforce Development Division. In accordance with federal regulations and TWC Chapter 809 Child Care Service Rules, TWC does require boards to secure and submit local matching funds to TWC in order to receive a portion of the CCDF funding. Supporting documentation includes 45 BCY 24 match agreements from 13 boards. Those boards are Borderplex, Cameron County, Concho Valley, East Texas, Gulf Coast, Lower Rio, North Central Texas, Northeast Texas, Panhandle, Permian Basin, South Plains, Tarrant County, and West Central Texas, totaling $14,014,217. Boards have secured 66.28% of the statewide child care local match target for BCY 24, with 6 of those 13 boards securing at least 100% of their target. Staff is recommending that TWC accept childcare pledges for donations, transfers, and certifications for expenses for BCY 24 in the amount of $14,014,217. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
None here.
No questions.
Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move we approve the acceptance of the child care pledges for donations, transfers, and certifications of expense for board contract year 2024 in the amount of $14,014,217 as recommended today by staff.
A second.
It's been moved second, votes unanimous, and the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cerna, an executive director's report.
A very brief report, and it's simply a congratulations to Commissioner Trevino on completing his first year with the agency from appointment. We want to go ahead, staff wants to go ahead and congratulate him on joining the TWC team and wishing him many, many more years. So with that.
He made his first year with a lot less gray hair than I did. He's doing better.
Well, you and I both started shortly after COVID. Anyway, that was,
I appreciate it.
and I think his staff put something together for him.
Wow.
And we do recycle. Point out, if you look at the back of that, you'll see that it's been recycled, so no,
Right.
no waste.
Right.
And Mr. Chairman, that is all I have in 58 seconds.
Thank you much. Is there any other order of business come before the commission?
None here.
No, sir.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Happy 1 year. Move. A second.
Second, it has been moved and seconded to adjourn. We're adjourned.